So in this video, we're going to talk about alternate methods, or they're not even really alternate, they're just methods that are outside of Metasploit that we can use for trying to detect an operating system. Is it Windows XP, Service Pack 2, is it Service Pack 3, is it Windows 7, and so forth, is it Linux? Now, inside of Metasploit, I mean, it really is a complete package. We can do everything in there, and it does a pretty good job. But just in case, I'm also giving you a couple other tools that are installed in Kali by default that are available for us. So this is going to be alternate methods for fingerprinting operating systems. And when people talk about fingerprinting, you might hear version fingerprinting, service fingerprinting, whatever fingerprinting. And all that's doing is that, like your fingerprint is unique. And unless you start sanding down your fingers or do all these weird tricks that you see on TV to try and change your fingerprint, I mean you really can't change your fingerprint. You were born with it, and that's just how it is. So you can't change it. And so just like that, on certain ports, certain operating systems, different versions of things, of software applications, that sort of thing, those put out a certain signature. They have a fingerprint. And so what this tries to do is look at that fingerprint and see if it can decide, or if it can tell what it is. So that's basically what we're doing. We can do that with versions and all that, but all we're going to do in this video is just the operating system. So, two things to talk about real quick. The first one is Xprobe 2. Now this is an active fingerprinting tool. There's active and there's passive. And active means that we're initiating conversation. We are we are either ARP flooding a network, or we're throwing out a lot of traffic to try and get some responses. We're almost causing a scene. So if we're at a quiet restaurant and somebody gets up and starts screaming, it's noticeable, and and people probably won't appreciate that. But on a network, if we get up and start screaming, if no one's looking, analyzing packets, then no one's really going to notice, and so it's not going to disturb anybody, so to speak. It's just kind of a cheesy analogy there, but anyhow, that's what active is. Passive is when we don't do any talking. And so instead of getting up and screaming in a restaurant, we can just sit there and listen. And all we're doing is listening for other people's conversations that are in the same room that we are. And based on that, we can try and put together different stories, or, hey, I think this person probably, just weird things that I think about to kind of put these stories together. But anyways, they make sense, and it's a good example. So passive, you don't cause a scene. It's not really noticeable. Nothing looks out of the ordinary. And you're just listening. So we will look at that in a second, but do the active first. And it's pretty easy. Xprobe 2, and then the IP address, 192.168.1.106. That's it. I mean, that's pretty simple. What this is going to do is it's going to load up a bunch of stuff. As we can see here, it's loading a bunch of modules. And based on the ports that it finds, it's going to try and guess the operating system. But it already has predetermined or predefined ports, not ports, but modules and stuff that it does load. So obviously this is version 0.3. There may be an update by the time that you get this course. But anyhow, Windows XP Service Pack 2 guess probability 100%. Windows 2000, whole bunch of service packs, 100%. Windows 2000, well, which one is it? If it's 100% sure, how can it be 100% sure on all of these? Well, the difference is that, yes, we are on XP Service Pack 2. I know that because I loaded the virtual machine. But in real life, we wouldn't really know. That's why we would do other version scans like we can do in Metasploit to tell us, let's say an SMB version scan. That will actually tell us the service pack. That does a good job with XP anyways. So with this tells me that Windows 2003, XP Service Pack 2, and Windows 2000, all these different service packs are putting out the same signatures. So let's say it's port 443 or 445, port 21, port 22, whatever port is on, whatever is running on that, and the signatures that it's putting out, this is the same. It's the same for all of these operating systems. But at least we know that it's Windows, and it's going to be one of these. So it just kind of narrows it down. Is it Windows 7? Is it Windows 8? Is it Linux? Is it Mac? We can go on forever talking about this, but anyway, that's the general idea. So there's not really a specific signature that it was that it found that identifies it just as Service Pack 2. It's collecting signatures that match all of these. So hope that makes sense. The last one is the passive tool, P0F. Now P0F is extremely helpful. We can just do a -H, and it tells us the different commands that we can use. Really all that we need to do is a P0F, a -I, space -I, and then the name of the interface that we're on. And this will basically listen. And so like in Wireshark, if we open up Wireshark, we can kind of just sit there and analyze the traffic. Well, this is going to do the same thing, except it doesn't open up like an interface or anything like that. It doesn't open up Wireshark, but it's going to sit there and sniff the traffic. And so the packets that are going back and forth, it's going to look at those, and it's going to try and determine signatures that are in there, like what operating system is it, and all the stuff that we just talked about. So it does a little bit different. It take a long time. And we definitely need to have a lot of data on the network. So if this was a large network, one, being passive is good, and number two, there would be a lot of data. Now for us, we don't have a lot of data going on. I just have one XP machine on and my Linux machine. Even if I was to just ping and ping and ping and ping, it's still not going to generate enough data for us to actually be successful, because it needs a lot of stuff, because we're doing it passively. We're not doing it actively. So this would take a while. Now if I just hit enter, it's going to sit here. Now you would wait here in a real situation. You would wait here until it returns you to the prompt. Or let's say you wait 10 minutes. You can hit Control-C and cancel. And you can see this says all done. Processed 0 packets. So it didn't even pick up any packets. Now you can look at your ifconfig, and that will tell you what interface you're on. So here's my IP address, 192.168.1.101, and that's on ETH0. So that's how I know to put that interface there. So P0F. Oops, what happened? There we go. We can do a -H one more time, and I can do a P0F, and we can also do a -P to put our device in listening or promiscuous mode. We can even do a -L to list our interfaces, and it's very nice because it provides the IP address, so that can actually show us, okay, well here's our 192.168 network, it's on ETH0. So now that we know that we can sniff on that. And another one is P0F, we'll do a -H, is the R option, which we can load a file. So let's say in Wireshark we let it run all night, and then we can save that. We can save that into a PCAP file, and then we can use the -R command here and load that PCAP file in here, and then we can do it that way. Like I also have a Wireshark file, a PCAP file that I saved. It just has a few packets in there, but I would do a P0F. We would do a -R and then location, so root, and then Wireshark.pcap is the name that I saved it as. But there's just a few pings in there and some ARP requests. Nearly not enough data, so it says process 0 packets. There was no packets in there that it could find to suggest what we were looking for. So anyways, I know that that's kind of going on and on about it as usual, but I do like to do my explaining so that you guys understand what's going on. Anyhow, that is the gist of the video. That's what I wanted to cover, and I will see you guys in the next video.